Have you ever felt like you're in control of your life, that your choices are your own, made with full awareness and free will? It's comforting to believe that. In fact, most of us go through life assuming we are the captains of our own ships. But what if I told you that this sense of control is largely an illusion? Modern neuroscience, psychology, and even ancient philosophy are converging on one radical truth. The majority of our decisions, thoughts, and behaviors are not made consciously. They are driven by something far more powerful, more hidden, and more mysterious: our subconscious mind. Studies suggest that up to 95% of our decisions are made unconsciously. They happen before we even become aware of them. Your body reacts, your words form, your impulses arise, all before your conscious mind catches up. This means that your conscious self, what you experience as you, is often just a narrator, rationalizing decisions that were already made. Think about it. Have you ever walked into a room full of strangers and suddenly felt nervous? Your heart races, your muscles tense, and you're on alert. Yet nothing has happened. Consciously, you might tell yourself to relax, but your body doesn't listen. Why? Because your subconscious is already working. It's digging into your past experiences, maybe times when you felt judged, excluded, or humiliated. Without needing to remember anything in words, it signals your nervous system: danger, even if there's no real threat. This is the hidden architecture of your life. Your subconscious is like a massive archive. It stores not just memories, but emotional imprints, trauma, beliefs, and patterns, all silently shaping your reality. And unlike your conscious mind, which can focus on just a few things at once, your subconscious is operating 24/7, filtering, processing, reacting. You are not the driver, you're the passenger. Imagine your life as a car. You believe you're at the wheel, steering toward your goals. But beneath the surface, your subconscious has its hands on the controls. Every time you avoid eye contact, procrastinate on a project, lash out in anger, or withdraw from love, there's usually a subconscious reason. These reactions often stem from early experiences, some that you barely remember or never fully processed. Maybe you learned as a child that being too visible gets you hurt, or that love must be earned by being perfect. These lessons become programs, and over time, they run on autopilot. The iceberg model of the mind. Think of the mind like an iceberg. Your conscious awareness is just the tip, the 5% that's visible above the waterline. Below the surface lies a vast, hidden mass. That's your subconscious. This submerged realm is not just full of memories. It contains your emotional reflexes, your identity, your fears, your expectations, your instinctive reactions. It decides how you experience reality, and often what you even notice in the first place. That's why two people can experience the same situation, let's say a crowded elevator, and have completely different internal reactions. One feels neutral, the other feels panicked. It's not the elevator, it's their subconscious story. Why we resist this truth. The idea that we're not fully in control of our minds is scary. It threatens our sense of self. Our society prizes logic, discipline, and willpower. We're told to just think positive, try harder, decide who you want to be. But if your subconscious is not on board, none of that works. You can affirm, "I am confident" every morning in the mirror, but if your subconscious believes you're not enough, your body won't feel safe expressing confidence. You'll shrink, hesitate, apologize unnecessarily. Your nervous system won't lie. This disconnect is why change often feels impossible. People blame themselves for failing to change. But the truth is, you cannot willpower your way through a subconscious block. You must work with it, not against it. How the subconscious is formed. So, how does your subconscious get programmed in the first place? Most of its foundations are built during your early childhood, before you even have a fully developed logical brain. From ages 0 to 7, your mind is like a sponge. You're absorbing beliefs, emotions, behaviors from your caregivers, your culture, your environment, not consciously, but as a felt reality. If love was inconsistent, you may learn to fear intimacy. If mistakes were punished, you may become a perfectionist. If you were ignored, you may learn to overperform to feel seen. These survival strategies shape your sense of identity. But here's the catch. They stay with you long after the original context has disappeared. And as an adult, you may live your life reacting to threats that no longer exist. This is why someone might sabotage a healthy relationship or feel undeserving of success. It's not because they don't want love or abundance. It's because their subconscious is still running an outdated program. The power of awareness. Now, here's the good news. What is subconscious can become conscious, and what becomes conscious can be transformed. The first step is awareness, not to judge or force yourself to change, but to become deeply curious about your own patterns. Ask yourself, what do I always avoid and why? When do I feel triggered, and what does that feeling remind me of? Which reactions feel automatic, out of proportion, or deeply familiar? Where do I feel powerless in my life? These questions open the door, and with patience, self-compassion, and often support, you can begin to rewire your internal system. You are not broken, you are wired for survival. It's easy to feel ashamed of the parts of yourself that overreact, shut down, or sabotage. But these patterns were never flaws, they were adaptations. Your subconscious didn't develop to hurt you, it developed to protect you. Even if its methods are outdated, its goal was always your safety. The tension, anxiety, avoidance, they were once brilliant strategies for emotional survival. Now, as an adult, you get to choose. Will you keep running the same script, or will you learn how to meet your inner world with awareness and intention? True transformation begins when we stop fighting our subconscious and start listening to it. Part 2. The birth of the inner program. If you want to understand why you think, feel, and act the way you do today, don't look into the future. Look back, way back, all the way to the beginning. The subconscious mind is not formed in adulthood. It is shaped in childhood, during the first years of your life, when your brain is still developing, your personality is fluid, and you absorb everything like a sponge. In these formative years, your mind is wide open, unguarded, and incredibly impressionable. This is when the inner program is written. Your brain is a sponge. From birth to around age 7, your brain functions primarily in what neuroscientists call the theta state. This is a slow brainwave pattern similar to the state between waking and dreaming. It's why young children can play for hours, lost in fantasy, and why they can learn languages, behaviors, and emotions with lightning speed. But the same openness that allows for rapid learning also means your subconscious absorbs everything, not just what is said, but how it is said. Not just what is taught, but what is implied, what is felt. If your parents were anxious, you didn't just hear their words, you absorbed the fear. If love was conditional, you didn't just learn rules. You learned that your worth depended on meeting expectations. You weren't taught a belief system, you were imprinted with one. Attachment and emotional wiring. Psychologists like John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth studied the power of attachment, the emotional bond formed between a child and caregiver. Their research revealed something profound. The quality of early attachments shapes your entire emotional world. Did your caregivers respond with warmth and reliability? Or were they distant, inconsistent, or overwhelmed? When attachment is secure, the subconscious builds a foundation of trust. I am safe. I am worthy. I can rely on others. But when attachment is insecure or disrupted, a different script is written. I must earn love. I can't trust. I'm not enough. These messages aren't intellectual. They are embodied. They live in your nervous system, your muscle memory, your emotional reflexes. The birth of core beliefs. From these early experiences emerge your core beliefs, unconscious assumptions about yourself, others, and life. Examples: I'm too much. I'm not important. People leave. Success is dangerous. These beliefs act like internal filters. They shape what you notice, how you interpret events, and what you expect from relationships, work, and even yourself. Here's the catch. These beliefs feel like truth, not opinions, not memories, but facts. Even worse, your subconscious doesn't want to challenge them. It wants to confirm them. This is called confirmation bias. You'll seek out, notice, and remember evidence that reinforces the belief and ignore what contradicts it. The result? You recreate the past in the present again and again. Trauma doesn't have to be loud. When we hear trauma, we often think of dramatic events, but the subconscious doesn't distinguish between capital T trauma and subtle, repeated emotional wounds. Sometimes the most impactful programs come from quiet neglect. No one noticed your sadness. You were never praised, only corrected. You felt invisible in your family. This is called developmental trauma, and it programs your subconscious with messages like, "My needs don't matter," or "I have to be useful to be loved." These messages become the silent operating system of your life. You learn to survive, not to thrive. Every behavior you struggle with today, overthinking, people-pleasing, avoidance, perfectionism, likely began as a survival strategy. These weren't mistakes, they were brilliant adaptations. A child who couldn't express anger without being punished learns to suppress emotions. A child who only received attention when achieving learns to equate worth with performance. A child who felt unsafe in chaos becomes hyper-vigilant, always scanning for danger. The problem? These strategies often outlive their usefulness. What helped you survive childhood may sabotage your adult relationships, creativity, or joy. Repetition creates reality. Children learn through repetition, and the subconscious is no different. The more a message is repeated, the deeper it embeds. If you were told or shown, "You're a burden, stop crying," "You'll never be good enough," you didn't just hear those words, you became those words. And decades later, even with new experiences, those old recordings can still run the show. Healing begins with seeing. The first step to changing the inner program is awareness. You cannot heal what you cannot see, and you cannot transform what you are still rationalizing. This doesn't mean blaming parents or living in the past. It means recognizing that you were shaped by forces you didn't choose. Ask yourself, what was my role in my family? What emotions were welcomed and which were punished? What did I learn about love, worth, and success? What parts of myself did I have to hide to belong? These questions open the vault, and from there, you can begin to rewrite. Compassion over condemnation. Be gentle. These patterns were created in a context of innocence. You were doing your best with what you had. Healing the subconscious is not about hacking your brain or forcing positive thoughts. It's about creating a new emotional reality, one that feels safe enough for your system to let go of the old programming. This takes time, and it takes trust. In Part 3, we'll dive deeper into invisible belief systems, the specific subconscious programs that run your daily life. We'll explore how they show up in relationships, career, and even self-talk. And most importantly, we'll begin learning how to uncover and rewire them. Because once you understand the program, you can change the outcome. Stay with us. Part 3, the invisible beliefs that shape your reality. Imagine you're wearing a pair of glasses you didn't know you were wearing. They color everything you see, your relationships, your goals, your fears. But because you've had them on since childhood, you've forgotten they're even there. That's what subconscious beliefs do. They aren't just thoughts. They're the lens through which you interpret life. These beliefs are rarely verbalized. You don't go around saying, "I'm not good enough," out loud. But the belief lives quietly in the background, shaping your behavior in subtle, powerful ways. Let's break it down. What are subconscious beliefs? Subconscious beliefs are deeply embedded assumptions about who you are, what the world is like, and how others will treat you. They're not based on logic or reason, they're based on experience, especially early experience. They sound like, "If I open up, I'll be rejected. I always have to prove my worth. Good things don't last. People will leave." These aren't just statements, they are emotional convictions, and your subconscious mind acts on them as if they are absolute truths. How these beliefs show up in daily life. Let's say you've internalized the belief, "I'm not worthy of love." You might unconsciously choose emotionally unavailable partners, push people away when they get too close, overextend yourself to earn approval. Or imagine your belief is, "I must be perfect to be accepted." You might procrastinate out of fear of failing, overwork and burnout, criticize yourself for every small mistake. In both cases, your subconscious belief creates a pattern, and unless that belief is brought to light, the pattern repeats. The subtle power of self-fulfilling prophecies. Here's where it gets really interesting. These beliefs don't just influence your behavior, they shape your outcomes. If you believe people can't be trusted, you'll approach relationships with suspicion. Others will sense your distance or defensiveness, and they may respond by withdrawing. This confirms your belief. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The subconscious wants consistency, not happiness. It prefers a painful known over an unfamiliar unknown. This is why people stay in toxic jobs or relationships. The known pain feels safer than the risk of change. The inner critic. Your beliefs in disguise. The inner critic, the voice that tells you you're lazy, unworthy, or stupid, is often just a mouthpiece for your subconscious beliefs. It says, you'll never succeed. Don't try, you'll only embarrass yourself. Who do you think you are? You may think this voice is keeping you in check, but really, it's keeping you small. It's protecting the beliefs that formed when you were too young to know better. Why we hold on to limiting beliefs. It might seem illogical. Why would anyone cling to beliefs that hurt them? Because these beliefs once served a purpose. They helped you navigate your environment. They explained painful events in a way that made you feel less helpless. If a child is abandoned, they may decide, it's because I'm unlovable. That belief is painful, yes, but it also gives them a sense of control. If they can just become lovable enough, they can prevent abandonment from happening again. As adults, we carry these beliefs forward, even though the context has changed. Becoming conscious of the unconscious. So, how do you identify your subconscious beliefs? It starts with observation. Ask yourself, what's a recurring pattern in my life? What do I believe about myself when I'm triggered? What story do I tell myself about failure, love, success? Listen to your emotional reactions. They're windows into your programming. When you overreact to a small comment, there's usually a belief being threatened. If someone cancels plans and you spiral into self-doubt, what belief is underneath? Maybe, I'm not worth people's time. If you get angry when a partner asks for space, could it be, if someone pulls away, they're leaving me forever? Journaling. A mirror for the mind. One of the most effective tools for uncovering beliefs is journaling. Write down your automatic thoughts, then ask, is this always true? Where did I learn this? Whose voice is this really? You might be shocked by what surfaces. Often your inner narrative isn't yours at all. It's inherited from parents, teachers, culture. The first step to change, challenge the story. Once a belief is seen, it can be questioned. And when questioned, it can be rewritten. You don't have to instantly believe the opposite. Just create a crack in the certainty. Try, maybe I'm not broken. What if I don't have to earn love? Is it possible success doesn't require suffering? Your subconscious won't change overnight, but it will respond to repetition, emotion, and safety. This is the beginning of transformation, not through force, but through compassionate curiosity. In Part 4, we explore how these invisible beliefs don't just affect your thoughts, they manifest in your body. From chronic tension to fatigue to illness, your subconscious communicates in physical symptoms. Your body holds the memory of your subconscious stories, and it may be time to start listening. Part 4. The body keeps the score. How your subconscious speaks through your physical state. You might think that your thoughts drive your emotions and behaviors, but what if your body is often in charge before your mind even catches up? What if your chronic stress, fatigue, or pain isn't random, but your subconscious trying to speak to you? Let's begin with a simple truth. The subconscious does not just live in the mind, it lives in your entire nervous system. It speaks through muscle tension, posture, breath, heart rate, and even digestion. The mind-body connection isn't theoretical, it's biological. The body as a messenger. Have you ever walked into a room and felt tension before anyone said a word? Or had a gut feeling that turned out to be right? That wasn't your conscious mind, it was your subconscious, picking up subtle cues and triggering a physical reaction. Your body processes billions of data points every second, far more than your conscious mind can handle. It uses this data to assess threats and safety, often based on memories you don't even consciously recall. If your subconscious associates public speaking with humiliation, your body might react with sweaty palms, a tight chest, or shaky legs, long before your logical brain tells you, relax, it's just a meeting. Trauma is stored in the body. Modern neuroscience and trauma studies confirm what ancient traditions have always taught. Emotional wounds live in the body. When we experience trauma, whether it's a single event or a prolonged situation, our nervous system goes into survival mode. Fight, flight, freeze. If that trauma isn't fully processed, the energy of the experience gets stored in the body. That's why someone who was abused as a child may feel an intense reaction to a raised voice or sudden movement. Even decades later, the body remembers. This concept was made famous by psychiatrist Bessel van der Kolk in his book, The Body Keeps the Score. His research shows how unprocessed emotions show up as chronic tension, migraines, digestive issues, fatigue, panic attacks. These aren't just in your head, they are in your nervous system. Emotional suppression and physical symptoms. Most of us have been taught to suppress our feelings. Don't cry, don't show anger, be strong, be polite. But emotions don't disappear. They simply go underground, into the body. Anger that's swallowed may become jaw clenching, shoulder tightness, or high blood pressure. Grief may manifest as fatigue or chest heaviness. Anxiety may live in shallow breathing or a constant sense of restlessness. When we ignore emotional pain, it often reappears as physical distress. Your body becomes the canvas on which your subconscious paints its messages. The role of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a critical link between your brain and body. It controls the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. When you feel safe, your vagus nerve is active and your body relaxes. But if your subconscious is on high alert due to old patterns or trauma, the vagus nerve can't function properly. You stay stuck in fight or flight, even when there's no immediate danger. This state of chronic activation can lead to a cascade of issues: trouble sleeping, poor digestion, brain fog, hormonal imbalance. Healing your subconscious must include calming your nervous system. Mental awareness is important, but bodily regulation is essential. Listening to the body. The body speaks in whispers before it screams. If you catch the whispers, you can prevent the screams. Ask yourself, where do I hold tension when I'm stressed? What symptoms arise when I'm emotionally overwhelmed? What physical sensations come up in difficult conversations? Start paying attention to your body's reactions. When you feel discomfort, don't immediately distract or suppress. Instead, pause and ask, what is this sensation trying to tell me? Practices that help reconnect mind and body. You don't need to become a yogi or a monk. Simple practices can help bring your subconscious and your body into alignment. 1. Breath work. Deep, intentional breathing calms the nervous system and creates space between stimulus and response. 2. Body scanning. Take a few minutes to mentally check in with each part of your body. Notice tension, numbness, or sensation without judgment. Third movement, dance, stretch, shake. Trauma often freezes energy in the body. Movement helps release it. 4. Touch. Placing a hand on your heart or stomach can bring immediate comfort and grounding. The body responds to physical safety cues. 5. Somatic therapy. A growing field of therapy that helps clients access and release trauma through bodily awareness rather than just talk. Reclaiming the body as an ally. When you begin to view your physical symptoms not as enemies but as messengers, everything changes. Pain becomes information. Fatigue becomes a signal. Anxiety becomes a request for safety. Your body isn't broken. It's intelligent. It's doing its best to protect you based on the data your subconscious has given it. And the good news, that data can be updated. You can teach your body new associations. Safe touch, calm voices, rest without guilt. You can build new neural pathways that say, I am safe, I am seen, I am in control now. This is where healing lives, not just in the mind, but in the breath, the heartbeat, the muscle, the nerve. In part 5, We explore the hidden parts of the subconscious known as the shadow self, the sides of ourselves we suppress, deny, or project onto others, and how reclaiming your shadow is key to deep psychological integration. Because true freedom isn't just light, it's the courage to face the dark. Part 5. Meeting your shadow, the hidden self within. We all have a side of ourselves we don't want to look at. The parts we deny, suppress, or pretend don't exist. But just because we hide something from our awareness doesn't mean it disappears. Instead, it moves underground, into the subconscious, where it silently influences our thoughts, behaviors, and relationships. This hidden part of the psyche is what Carl Jung called the shadow self. The shadow is not evil. It's not something to destroy. It is a part of you that holds the aspects of your personality that you've learned were unacceptable. And the paradox is, the more you reject it, the more power it holds over you. What lives in the shadow? The shadow isn't just about anger or jealousy. It can also be repressed sadness, unexpressed sexuality, ambition you've buried, power you fear, vulnerability you avoid, even joy you don't allow yourself to feel. In other words, anything you were taught to hide to fit in could have become part of your shadow. As children, we quickly learn what's rewarded and what's punished. If expressing anger leads to rejection, we learn to suppress it. If showing pride gets called arrogance, we tone ourselves down. If crying makes others uncomfortable, we numb. These disowned parts become the shadow. The problem of repression. When we repress emotions or traits, we don't get rid of them. We just push them into the basement of our psyche. But the basement still has a light switch. Unconscious material doesn't just sit quietly. It leaks out through passive-aggressive behavior, emotional outbursts, projection onto others, self-sabotage, unexplained anxiety, or shame. Think about a time you overreacted to something small. A comment, a delay, a facial expression. That intense emotional response might not be about the present. It could be your shadow acting out. Projection. Seeing the shadow in others. One of the most common ways the shadow shows up is through projection. We see in others what we cannot accept in ourselves. That person is too loud, too needy, too full of themselves. Are they? Or are they expressing something you've been taught to repress? Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The shadow is a mirror. If you constantly attract partners who abandon you, maybe you have an abandoned part inside. If you hate people who lie, perhaps there's a part of you that fears being found out. The qualities you reject most intensely in others often reflect something unresolved in you. Why we fear the shadow. It's scary to confront your shadow because it challenges the identity you've carefully built. If you see yourself as the nice one, what do you do with your rage? If you identify as strong, where do you put your grief? Shadow work asks you to hold two truths at once. You are kind and sometimes selfish. You are loving and have moments of resentment. You are capable and you have doubts. This is not weakness, it is integration. The gifts of the shadow. Ironically, what we repress often contains great power. The anger you suppress might be the fire you need to set boundaries. The sadness you bury may be the doorway to compassion. The envy you feel might point you toward your true desires. When you integrate the shadow, you reclaim lost parts of yourself. You become more whole, more honest, more alive. This doesn't mean you act on every impulse. It means you acknowledge them. You don't let the shadow drive the car, but you stop pretending it isn't in the vehicle. How to begin. Shadow work. Track your triggers. What people, situations, or comments cause a strong emotional reaction in you? Ask, what part of me feels threatened or exposed? Journal your judgments. When you find yourself judging others, write it down. Then turn the mirror inward. Where does this live in me? Name your inner voices. Get familiar with the different parts of you, the critic, the rebel, the pleaser, the protector. What does each want? What do they fear? Practice non-judgment. The shadow doesn't need to be fixed. It needs to be seen and accepted. Compassion is more powerful than control. Use dreams and art. The subconscious speaks in symbols. Pay attention to recurring images or emotions in your dreams. Creative expression can help bypass the analytical mind. Seek support. Shadow work can be intense. Coaches, therapists, or safe communities can offer guidance and grounding. The courage to be whole. We spend so much energy trying to be good, but true growth comes not from perfection, but from authenticity. When you stop fighting your shadow, you stop fighting yourself. You stop fearing your emotions. You stop blaming others for your pain. You stop living in pieces. Instead, you move toward integration. You learn to say, I have darkness in me, and I choose the light. I have wounds, and I am healing. I carry contradictions, and I'm still worthy of love. This is the essence of becoming whole. In Part 6, we explore how to rewire the subconscious, practically, how to change old mental and emotional programs, and why transformation is less about discipline and more about creating new internal experiences. The next step is not suppression or analysis, it's reprogramming. Part 6. Reprogramming the mind, changing the subconscious from within. Rewiring the subconscious mind isn't about force. It's not about controlling your thoughts or disciplining your way into a better life. True transformation happens when you learn to work with, not against, your inner programming. The subconscious isn't logical. It doesn't respond to arguments. It responds to repetition, emotion, and experience. If you want to change it, you have to speak its language. The brain is plastic, and that's the key. Neuroscience has confirmed what ancient traditions have long believed. The brain is plastic. That means it's capable of forming new neural pathways throughout life. Every thought, emotion, and behavior you repeat wires your brain a little more in that direction. What fires together, wires together. If you consistently react to stress with fear, you strengthen that circuit. If you habitually respond to conflict with avoidance, that becomes your default setting. But the same principle can work in your favor. If you start responding to uncertainty with curiosity, or fear with grounding, you can literally rewire your emotional patterns over time. This is how habits, identities, and even personalities can shift. Why affirmations alone don't work? You've probably heard the advice, just say positive affirmations. But here's the catch. If your subconscious doesn't believe them, they won't land. Saying, I am confident while your body is tight with anxiety only reinforces the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Words aren't enough. Your subconscious needs to feel the truth. This is why reprogramming requires embodiment. Reprogramming equals feeling plus repetition plus safety. Think of your subconscious like a garden. Your current beliefs are the roots. You can't just plant new seeds and expect overnight growth. You have to prepare the soil, regulate your nervous system, create internal safety. You can't build on panic. Plant new seeds, introduce new beliefs, images, and emotional experiences. Water daily. Use repetition to reinforce them. New pathways need practice. Protect the growth. Avoid environments and inputs that constantly contradict your new beliefs. Tools to reprogram the subconscious. 1. Visualization with emotion. The brain doesn't distinguish between a vividly imagined event and a real one. That's why elite athletes use mental rehearsal. You can too. Imagine yourself acting, speaking, and feeling like your most empowered self. But don't just watch it like a movie. Feel it, embody it. Make it real. Emotion is the glue that helps the subconscious hold on to new patterns. Second, somatic practice. Movement, breathwork, and body awareness are powerful ways to shift subconscious programming. Trauma and fear aren't just mental. They're stored in the body. Practices like deep belly breathing, tapping, EFT, progressive muscle relaxation, cold exposure, yoga, or shaking exercises help discharge old emotional patterns and create new states of being. 3. Repetitive mantras with intention. Repeat affirmations after you've calmed your nervous system, not before, and choose ones that feel believable. Instead of, I am fearless, try, I am learning to trust myself. I can feel afraid and still take action. I am safe to be seen. Link the affirmation to breath, touch, or movement to deepen its impact. Fourth, inner child, dialogue. Much of your subconscious programming was formed before the age of 7. That means your inner child is still driving many of your choices. Reprogramming often means reparenting. Ask, what does that younger version of me need to hear? What comfort, protection, or validation did I miss? Speak it aloud, write it, picture it. Safety transforms everything. 5. Changing your environment. Your subconscious is shaped by repetition, and what you expose yourself to daily matters. Who are you surrounded by? What kind of media are you consuming? What voices are influencing your inner dialogue? You can't change your programming while bathing in environments that contradict your transformation. From self-sabotage to self-support. Often we mistake the subconscious for sabotage. Why do I always push away good things? Why can't I change? The answer is, your subconscious isn't trying to ruin you. It's trying to protect you. It's repeating old survival strategies. But what kept you safe then might be limiting you now. Reprogramming is about thanking the old strategy and then gently choosing a new one. You don't erase the past. You expand beyond it. Repetition over revelation. Real change rarely comes from one big realization. It comes from daily, grounded repetition. Every time you interrupt an old thought loop, choose calm over panic, set a boundary with love, let yourself be seen without shrinking, you are updating your code. Over time, the subconscious starts to trust. Maybe we don't have to hide. Maybe safety and success can coexist. Maybe I don't have to earn love. I am already enough. Transformation isn't linear. There will be setbacks. Old patterns will return. That doesn't mean you've failed. It means your nervous system is integrating. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about awareness, choice, and returning. Every time you return to your new pattern, you strengthen it. Final thought. You are not broken, you are patterned, and patterns can change. Not through shame, not through willpower, but through presence, compassion, and practice. In Part 7, we explore the final step, integration. How to live in deep connection with your subconscious, making it not your enemy, but your ally for lasting personal transformation. Because the goal is not to escape the subconscious, but to partner with it. That's when true freedom begins. Part 7. Integration, living in harmony with your subconscious. True transformation is not about constant control, it's about integration. After exploring the depths of your subconscious mind, understanding your early conditioning, decoding belief systems, connecting with the body, and initiating reprogramming, you reach the most important part of all, learning to live with your subconscious as a partner. Because the subconscious is not your enemy, it's your oldest protector. Integration. What does it actually mean? Integration means wholeness. It means you stop compartmentalizing yourself into the good parts and the broken parts. It means you bring light to what was hidden and honor what was once suppressed. You're not healing to become someone else. You're healing to become more you. Integration is the moment when your conscious mind and subconscious mind begin to collaborate. Where once there was inner conflict, sabotage, hesitation, self-doubt, now there is communication, understanding, and alignment. Step 1. Practice inner dialogue. Start listening inwardly. When you feel resistance, don't push it away. Ask, what part of me feels scared right now? What does this part need? What memory does this feeling remind me of? This is the foundation of integration, inner communication. Instead of reacting automatically or shaming yourself for procrastinating, freezing, or spiraling, begin to develop compassion for the inner parts that are trying to protect you in outdated ways. Step 2. Embody the integration. It's not enough to think differently, you must live differently. That means letting your body experience the new truth, saying no and standing tall, even when it's scary. Accepting a compliment without deflecting it. Relaxing your shoulders when you feel tension rising. Each of these micro moments is a signal to your subconscious. We are safe now. Step 3. Ritualize reflection. Create time regularly to tune into your inner world. Journaling. Ask your subconscious a question and free write the answer. Body scans. Notice where you're holding emotion. Breathe into it. Evening check-ins. What did I learn about myself today? These moments of stillness allow the mind to integrate, just like sleep allows the brain to consolidate memories. Step 4. Create a supportive ecosystem. Integration doesn't happen in isolation. You need safe relationships, nourishing environments, and mental hygiene to support your growth. Ask yourself, who in my life supports the version of me I'm becoming? What content do I consume daily? Does it feed fear or expand possibility? Where can I express myself without judgment? Your subconscious responds to your surroundings. Curate them like your life depends on it, because it does. Step 5. Acknowledge setbacks as integration. Old patterns may return. That doesn't mean failure. It often means your subconscious is testing the new program. Is this safe? Are we sure? Instead of reverting to shame, respond with care. Here's the fear again. What's it trying to tell me? What unmet need is being activated right now? Every trigger is an opportunity to integrate a deeper layer. Step 6. Practice identity alignment. Your subconscious aligns with who you believe you are. So ask yourself, who am I becoming? What does this version of me believe, do, and embody? Then begin living as if you are that version, even when you're uncertain, even when it feels awkward. That's how the subconscious rewrites its script. Step 7. Give yourself time. Integration is not a weekend workshop. It's a life practice. Some days will feel aligned, others may feel like regression. The key is consistency, not intensity. Show up for yourself again and again. That's how trust is built. That's how transformation becomes embodiment. The subconscious as an ally. When you stop trying to dominate your subconscious and start relating to it with respect and compassion, everything changes. You begin to recognize the root of your triggers, respond instead of react, live with less resistance and more flow, make choices that align with your deepest truth, not your old fears. This is freedom, not the absence of fear, but the ability to move with fear guided by wisdom. Not the absence of pain, but the ability to hold pain without losing yourself in it. Not the end of effort, but the end of self-betrayal. Closing reflections. You are not your trauma. You are not your coping mechanisms. You are not broken. You are layered, evolving, sacred. Your subconscious is not the enemy. It's the part of you that remembered everything, long before you had the words to explain it. It's your emotional memory, your soul's historian. Now, it's time to lead together, with love, with curiosity, with presence. Integration is not the end of the journey, it's the beginning of wholeness.